Hello, my name is Cristanta Gilbert, and I'm talking about um, my life before I became a Christian. Be my life when I was a little kid. It started when I was a little kid, as a toddler. I really learned that my father is an angry man. He's always getting mad and screaming to my mother, throwing things around the house, and screaming to my mother. One day, he's mad, he's doing stuff. Me and my younger brother, we went in and under the table or under the bed, and then we stayed there for a longer time that we fell asleep there. And then when he see us there, he come get a stick or a wooden stick to beat us up to come out there. So that's how I learned that my father is really angry man all the time. And one day my mother teach me about God, telling me that there's God who made me, who created me. He saw me, he could hear me, he could see what I'm doing. So I solemnly believe that there is God, and there is God who cares and who see me. One day my father beat me up while we went to the farm. That time I was 7 years old. 7 years old, supposed to be go to school, start in grade 1. But to me, instead of going to school, I go to the farm and work with my father in the farm. Every time he asks me to do things, either he's not satisfied or I do it wrong, he get mad on me and beat me up. I got head in my head, got head in my back, I got head in my legs, and sometimes I got head in my arm because I put my arms cover my back because it's hurt when he beat me up. So he would stop beating me until my arms or my legs will turn black and blue and it swell. And one day we went to the farm, we harvested the corn, and the corn stack is so high that I cannot even having hard time to reach it. And he he was he see me that he saw me that I am struggling of harvesting the corn, and he come and beat me up. And one day we're also in the farm, we with the rice field, and the rice leaves is split by my body, and he get mad when he saw that and beat me up. He hit me in my head or hit me in my back, everywhere. And he was throwing also some hard dirt at me, that all my body, my head is full of dirt when I come home. That the time when I come home, my mother will always ask why I'm so dirty to my 2 older sisters, and my sister will say, "Oh, it's Papa." So my mother didn't say anything to my father and just bring me to the well and give me back. And one day also, me and my brother my younger brother watching in the field, in the rice field, for the monkeys and for the birds. All around in the fields, there are hens that we tie by rope. And me and my brother, the only thing we do is we stay in the cottage and uh, swinging the rope so that everything will be, the birds will be afraid or the monkey will be afraid for the noise of the hens that he put all around the fields. So that's our job. One day me and my brother playing there, We hanging our hands to that roof, that cottage, small cottage that we have, and the roof fell over. My father stood up and he get mad, and he went there and brought a guava tree branches and beat both of us. And he beat both of us that we pee, and we do the second one thing also, because it's so hurt, and he don't stay. He stop beating us until our body will black and blue. So it's really hurt, and I learned to talk to God. When I'm alone, when we're alone, we cry, and I talk to God, saying, "Why you give me a father like this?" And then who's gonna help us when that he's not gonna beat us? When he gonna stop beating us? That's what I'm thinking about. That's what my talking to God, my prayer to God. Every time I do that, I make sure that I'm alone there, that nobody see me. And one day, there's a small river in the house, near the house in our farm. And there's a big rock over there that has, all around, has a bushes. So I went in there and hide myself there and cry and talk to God. That's all I could do, just talk to God. Because I believe God is there, and I believe that He's everywhere. And He saw me. He see my arms, He see my legs that are black and blue from the beating of my father. And I said to God, "God, can you see my arms? Can you see my legs?" And I do believe that He is there. I do believe that He listened to me and He saw me. So I learned to talk to God. I learned to have a company with Him, even though it seems I'm alone. But I don't feel alone. I felt that He's there. So all the time, even in the night, if my father's away from home, he go away sometimes, and we're alone in the house, like my mother and the rest of my siblings. Sometimes I go to the farm in the night before I go to bed, in the moonlight time, and I talk to God. I look at the sky and talk to Him, and I have communication with God through that. And one day, me and my father were in the farm. He was so mad at me that I cannot even remember now why he's mad at me. He has a bolo in his vest that he tie all the time. And he took the bolo and walking towards me saying, "I want to kill you, kid. I want to kill you, kid." So I ran away from him, and I ran so hard that I lost him in the bushes. I went to the bushes and lost him there. And he didn't continue. He didn't pursue me there. He stopped, go after me, and he went home. And later on, he sent my mother to go find me. And while I'm there, I'm hungry for a few hours. I think few hours I was there in the bushes hiding. I'm thinking of run away, but I'm so scared to run away. Later on, my mother come and call my name, saying, Nining is my nickname. Nining, come out. And then I thought myself, I'm not gonna come out. But I also realized that if I would come out, my mother would go home without me, that my father's gonna beat her up. So I felt sorry for my mother. So I went out and talked to her. Because I just realized that when my older brother ran away in the house before, and my father sent her to find him, and she went home without him, he beat my mother. So I don't want him to beat my mother again. So I went home with her. I just believe that Papa is not gonna kill me, what she said. So uh, we went home and my father just looked at me and he didn't say anything. So I was just relaxed. I'm just I just go home and eat, and later on I went to go back to the farm. Um, One day also, my my father put poison around the house because we have a lot of rats. And my mother, what the next weeks, on the how many days, my mother cleaned up the house. And she took all those things, the poison that my father put around the house, and he threw it in the bushes. And our chickens eat it. Everything that every chicken that we have get it. And some of them die in the poison, and some are saved. But before that happened, before my father saved those chickens, when he learned that my mother threw the poison that he put around the house in the bushes, he was so mad that he beat my mother up in the head. And I just come home from the farm that morning, and I went towards the house. I walked towards the house, and that's what I see, that my father beating up my mother in the head, and he um, she has blood all around her face to her clothes. And I turn around back to the farm and I cry, saying, "What kind of father is this you gave to me, God? Why you give me a father like this?" So I just went there and cry, and then go back to the house again. And then when I go to the house, he really stopped beating my mother, and they're quiet in the house. And one day also, that we are in the farm all the time. He if he's not contented what I do, or he's not happy what I do, the job, he beat me up. And one day, when he was away from home, I go to the farm by myself and talking to God in the night, in the moonlight. I love talking to God in the farm, especially in the moonlight. And sometimes I do in the dark. I see the stars in heaven, and I believe that God is watching me, and I talk to Him. All I could talk to Him is about my father. That's when I was a little kid, and that's before I go to school. And then it could get continuous even when I was in the school early. When I go to school, I was 9 years old, and that's how I start going to school, grade 1, first grade. And in the school, I cannot concentrate in the school. I am so scared and so quiet in the school, and I don't talk to other kids. I don't mingle with the kids. I am so different in the school. And in the class, I cannot concentrate. I'm having a hard time to learn because of all in my mind is all about home. What's gonna happen when I come home, or what is gonna happen tonight? And it's hard to think for a kid that most of the time supposed to be the kid having a good time playing or going to school, but me, no, I go work before I went to school or after I go to school. So it is so difficult as a child, as a kid. And then Later on in the school, I create a friend. I have a friend in the school. And then one day I went to her house. That when I went there, I got so jealous that she has a nice father. Her father talking to her, joking around, and playing with her. And I said to her, "You have a nice father, and your father play with you." And she said to me, "Why? What about your father?" And then I told her that my father always beat me up all the time. And then we stopped talking about it and we continue, and then I go home. So going home for me, going to the house with my father there or in the farm is a horror because the way he is. But I learned to keep talking to God, and I believe that only God can protect me. So in that time that he kept hitting my head, I believe that God is protecting me, because if he didn't, what I am now, if my head is have a problem. Head is the most important thing that is not supposed to be head all head. So by God's grace, because of he protect me, that's the reason why my head, I don't have a problem in my head. And that's what I believe so. And one day my sister ran away, my older sister. Excuse me. And my father go after her, looking for her, and he never bring her home because he cannot find her. And my father always arguing with my neighbors. All our neighbors is mad at him. And one day from the school, I passed away at my neighbor's house, and my neighbor, I overheard him talking to the guy in the bushes that I cannot see him. He's talking to someone somewhere there that I cannot see, because I think that guy is hiding. And all I could hear is just saying, "How they gonna take care of my father?" I overheard him saying, "How they gonna take care of my father?" I overheard the name of my father. I was passing from the school, and then I'm so scared, and I ran, because I don't want him to see me. That I heard him saying that. So I ran, and I went home and told my mother that she needs to tell Papa that our neighbor is talking about how they're gonna kill him. Then when my father home, my mother told to my father, because on that month also they talking about that there's three rebels that come into the barrio, to our barrio, and kill 3 people. They announced it. Life in that time looked like it's not worth it. They could announce if someone's gonna die. They could announce that someone's gonna come and kill other people there, because most of my neighbors are joining in the rebels. And my mother told my father to go away to Summit City, to Summit or where he's gonna go, so that, who knows, maybe those people that they announced that the rebels gonna kill, is one of them is him. That's what my mother told him. But he didn't listen to my mother. He said he's not afraid to die. And he said, why did I kill him? Why? What's wrong? What the wrong things he does? He didn't believe that he do a wrong thing, and he didn't believe that he abused us, my mother, and all of us kids. So I was 12 that time then. And before that happened also, I got another one that I just didn't mention in it. That when I was in grade 2, my father buy me a raincoat, and I put the raincoat one day in the rainy, and the raincoat is wet inside because my mother, when she washed it, it didn't fully dry. So I didn't put my arm in it, and I just covered it with my body, my head. And I didn't know that some of my things was wet. And one night I was sleepy. I fall asleep and deep sleep, and all of a sudden my father picked up my 2 legs and slammed me to the floor. And what happened then is I thought I'm awake, and I feel hurt in my back, and it looked like I cannot breathe. I'm having a hard time to breathe. And my father didn't even say anything about it. And so like my mother cannot do anything. If my father will beat us up, and then I have to hide in my mother's back or in my mother's under clothes, still my mother cannot do anything, cannot protect us. So then I learned to trust in God, that only God can protect us. And then back to that day that my neighbors talking to the rebel, my father didn't believe it, that one of the person, that 3 people that they announced that they're gonna kill is one of us, my father, when my mother told him. So he said he's not gonna afraid to die, and he is. What's wrong with him? What's wrong that he does that they're gonna kill him? So my mother told him, it's up to you, but I told you so. So then he said he's not afraid to die. And then one day he went back to go look for my sister again. And then that night he didn't go home. Instead, he slept to another town in his one of his sister's house. And we alone in the house, me and my brother, my mother, my other older sister. So one night I heard a walking shoes going towards the house, and the dogs is barking around the house. And I thought it was my father, so I'm getting ready to go open the door for him. And luckily my mother upstairs, the house that we have is up and down. My mother's upstairs and saying to me, meaning, don't open the door. Probably that's not your father. So I didn't continue to open the door. I took the lock off, but I put it back right away before I opened the door. So I just listened, and then I heard that the walking feet going down away from the house. So we learned that that's not my father on that night. So we continue, we go to bed, we sleep, and get up in the morning. And around 7 o'clock, my father arrived home, and we ate for breakfast. And we're supposed to go to school on that day, but we didn't go to school because we need to grind the corn so that we have our corn flour or corn to cook cornmeal. So supposed to be me and one of my older sister will go have uh, do the cornmeal. So we stay home, we didn't go to school. After we ate breakfast, my mother went to the farm. My father stayed there in the house and reading the Bible. My father is also religious. He's so faithful in the church, in the Catholic church, and he's faithful to his Bible. He kept reading the Bible, but the only thing I know, the thing that I notice on him is he's an angry man. He is a madman, but he's reading the Bible. So by then I was a kid, so I don't understand those things. I don't question that much those things. So after that morning, he's reading the Bible around 8 o'clock. There's the guys, 3 guys, walking towards the house. And before I could open the door, I already see them in the window. I already see them looking upstairs because they know that my father's upstairs saying good morning, no. So my father saying, oh, Nining, open the door for the visitor. So I opened the door for them, and my father come down and start talking to them, and they talk to my father. They said the only two people that went into the house is the two, and the other one is outside the house, and he has a mask on. And I wonder if why he has a mask on. The winter hats, that's the one that he have on that day, and he's outside the house all the time. The only people with 2 guys that went in the house and 1 outside. So I was there working around in the kitchen. At the same time, they're talking there, them and my father. And then my father, he talked to my father saying that they are from the government and they're talking about the concept of the house. And I don't understand what's those. And all of a sudden, probably my father realized who those guys are. So my father tried to escape. My father said to them, oh, I'm gonna go get my wife in the field because I'm gonna go get my because we have a lot of pigs on that time. We raise pigs, so like 10 pigs on that time. So we put everything in the farm, and we tie them there so that they could eat the fresh grass. So my father wanted to get that pig from the sun, bring in the under the tree or under the mango, under the banana tree. And those people, the guys say to him, can you let your kids get your pigs from the field? And you can stay with us here to talk to us. And then later on, my father created a excuse, saying, I have to go to the field to help my wife, so I'm just gonna go ask my wife to come home here to talk to you guys, and I'll go get stuff that she picked. But those guys didn't let him go, saying, is that okay if you ask one of your kids to go get your wife in the field? And then my father said, okay. Then he asked my younger brother to go get my mother. And then when my mother arrived, they talked, and my father created an excuse again, saying, I have to go get my the beans that she harvested before. Well, because it's in the farm, so it's heavy, so I have to go get it. And you and my wife could talk about, because they're talking about chicken, they want to buy chicken, and my wife could give you a price for that. And instead, my father could go. They kept talking to my father, talking and talking, 2 of them inside the house. So my mother went out and gathered some woods, chopped some woods outside the house. Then all of a sudden, these two guys inside the house torn a gun to my father. We didn't know that they have guns in them. Torn a gun to my father. And the other guy outside the house torn a gun to my mother, saying, "Don't move, don't move." So my father didn't move, and my mother didn't move. And me, I just was standing there like a candle, and I cannot move. I was so shocked what I see. I realized that these guys are not good guys. I realized that those guys are bad guys. And all of a sudden, I just realized what I talked to my mother. So, they tie my father, they have him in the floor, lying down in the floor by his stomach, and tie his hand in the back. And my two younger brothers go near to the head of my father and cry. And then this guy is saying, "You kids, stay away, because only your father. You guys have nothing to do with this, and only your father we need to investigate. We need to take care of your father." So they said, "Oh, let's bring him outside the house." And then my mother, when they bring my father outside the house, my mother went there near to my father, and my mother talked to them. "What's wrong? What's wrong? Why you guys doing this to my husband? What you guys gonna do to my husband?" And then they said, "We gotta take care of your husband. If the government didn't take care of your husband, we gotta take care of your husband." And then my mother asked them, "What wrong things my husband do?" And then they said, "You still asking us what's wrong he does? Can you not know that he abuses you and your kids?" So my mother didn't answer back. Instead, he looked down and silence. And then I went and walked towards the window. I was able to move after they get out the house. I was able to move where I stand up. And I walk towards the window and look, and that's what I see. That they start getting their knives behind their back, and it's a double-edged knife, and it's I think is a more than 12 inches knife, or 12 inches knife, and they start stabbing my father, and I saw that in my eye. And as long as I see it, I felt dizzy, and I almost fell down to the ground, and I was able to hold the window and turn around, get away from the window, and get into the kitchen and cry. I just listened of the stabbing. So while they're stabbing there, they said that they're gonna flip my father. So they flipped my father, and they stabbed him also in the chest. When they first stabbed my father, my father didn't say anything. He didn't say a single word. So then after that, they flipped my father, they stabbed him again, and my father received 16 stab wounds. And then they walk away from the house, holding their knives, going towards the river. And probably there in the river they washed their knives before they put it back in their bag, hiding in their clothes. So I went out and looked my father, and my mother's right there, talking to my father, saying, "You don't listen to me. So what now? What they do to you?" And my father, I saw his hand move a little bit, so full of blood over there and all around him in the ground, and I saw his hand move a little bit, And I said to my mother, "Oh, Papa's still alive. We'll bring him to the doctor." And my mother told me, "Nining, your father's dead. He's dead now." So we cry. And then that's all I see, and he didn't move anymore. And his eyes is wide open. He don't have a breath anymore. He turned into hard and cold. So we just cover him with the banana leaves. And me and one of my older sister that next to me went and go to the Barrio Capitan, and we go talk to the Barrio Capitan, and go to my auntie and grandma's house, which is my father's family, and told them what happened. And then we've been home on that night, sad and confused and scared and everything. We cannot understand what we feel. And then the police come and check my father, and that's all he do, and nothing else they do farther. Just check and buried him the next day. Things that happen like that the kid's supposed to be kinda need to see. It messes up more of my life, and I am more and more quiet and more scared and more don't want to talk. And even in the school, the kids in the school are making fun of me because I don't talk. But I'm so scared to talk. They don't understand that to me. And some of the teacher will say to me that your father is so abusive, that's why they kill your father. And they know that my father is so abusive, but they don't do anything about it. They don't take care. The government didn't take care about it, especially the Barrio Capitan and the teachers. They know that my father's abusive. I'd rather be seeing him going to jail than seeing him like that get killed. But I don't understand why it's like that before when I was a kid, and I keep thinking about it, and years pass by that when I was in the high school, I changed a little bit. But before that, after my father died, I have experience of when I see a gun or a knife, I am uncomfortable. Especially the guns. When I see that, I feel like I'm floating. And it happens for few months on me. Every time I see a gun or a knife, it's uncomfortable to me. But later on, when I was in high school, it go away. I was fourth grade at that time then when my father died. So when I was in high school, it go away, and I'm getting into a normal situation as a kid. And by then I am a teenager on the time, and we're having a hard time because we don't have father anymore, and we work hard more and more so that we could have foods. Sometimes we don't have foods, but while my father's still alive, we always have foods in the house because we work hard with my father, and my father's are working hard too. And since he died, we cannot do the work like what we do before when he is still alive. We just relaxing ourselves, but we still work so that we have foods. We help our mother. I usually help my mother, but two of my older sisters love to stay home and roaming around if my older brother's not there. That time after my father died, my older brother went home to stay with us. He is in his 20s at that time. And if my older brother's not there, my two older sisters also love to roaming around and leave me alone and my mother in the farm, in the house, working. So one day also, that we still raising pigs also on that time. We have a lot of pigs. One day, my mother and my older brother sell the pigs that we raise. So out of that thing, my job is to go to the farm and feeding the pigs and do all kinds of jobs. And feeding the pig is my job, morning and night, before night. All the pigs that we have, cooking the foods for them, gathering the foods for them. So by the time that my mother and my older brother sell the pigs, I was expected of a clothes or whatever that I could get out of the. But instead, my mother and my older brother split the money, and my older brother buy the rest of the money for water buffaloes, and my mother some of the money she buy the clothes for my two sisters only. Me and my three younger siblings, my two brothers, one sister, we didn't have anything. She buy a clothes only for my two older sisters because she said that they are older than me and they are more mature than me, so she has to buy clothes for them, like sandals, stockings, naming everything, makeup. But I don't have anything, so I was so mad. It's just that I'm the one working around the house all the time, and I am the one that didn't get anything. And them that they're roaming around with the friends, and they're the one that get everything. So I was so upset on that day. And one day, because I am so upset about what happened, that my mother didn't buy me anything, because I go to school, I was second year high school, and I don't have clothes. The only one that I have is uniform, 2 uniforms, shoes, and the regular clothes for Friday clothes in the school is only 1, shoes, and I just wear flip-flops, which is over here in America is just a beach flip-flops to wear in the beach or in the lake. But when I was a kid, I wear that as to go to school. When I was a teenager, I wear that to go to school. That's all I could have. And I was so upset one day that I'm thinking while I am in the farm, I'm putting a poison for the rats around in the farm, in the corn farm. I'm putting a poison in it. That one day I go at the top of the rock in the farm. We have a big rock in the farm, in the middle of the cornfield, and I went up there and cry, thinking of ending myself, thinking of taking a poison, drinking a poison, so that everything will be done, everything will be okay. Because I think if I'm dead, I'm okay, and if I'm dead, everything will be alright. So when I was in grade 4 also, before that happened, I was in grade 4. My teacher is Pentecostal, she kept talking to us about God also, and she kept talking to us that heaven and hell. And I realized that she just said to us that we as a Catholic will go to hell because we we worshiping idol. But I said to myself, why would she say that? That we'll go to hell. We don't do wrong things. We don't do bad things. I'm doing good things. That's what I thinking. But even that day, that when I go on the top of the rock, thinking of ending myself, I still have a question: if I die, where I go, where my soul gonna go? But because I am so mad, that I was so hurt, that I wanted to end myself so that everything will be alright. And in the rock, I pour in the cup. I pour a poison, and I make it ready, and I keep crying and crying and crying. And then while I'm doing that, all of a sudden, there is warm air around me. Warm air, and it looks like someone's tapping my back. Someone is rubbing my back, saying it's okay. You don't have to do that. Don't do that. It's not good. You don't know where you're gonna go when you die. Um, they're gonna laugh. Your sisters and brothers gonna laugh on you. So please, so don't do that. Don't do it. It's not that bad. One day, you're gonna be okay. One day, you're gonna go to other country. I feel like someone's talking to my brain. Someone's talking to my head, and someone's rubbing my back. Someone's touching me. And all of a sudden, my mind was changed. All of a sudden, all those things of killing myself through the poison, to drink the poison, is all of a sudden is gone. All of a sudden, I was felt so happy and saying, why would I do this? And then I all I pour away right away the poison that I pour in the cup. I put back in the bottle and continue doing my job and happy. And even while I'm doing my job, still someone's talking. It looks like someone's talking to my mind. Someday you're gonna be okay. Someday you're gonna have a lot of clothes, and you're gonna have money enough to buy clothes and to buy foods that you need. And you're gonna be going in other country. And then in myself, I was thinking, oh, what country I'm gonna go? Saudi Arabia. So then I said, oh, other country. I feel like someone's talking to me about that. That someday I'm gonna go to other country, and I'm gonna be okay. So that time, I didn't realize that that was God stopping me to what I'm doing, about to do. It was God intercept. He made me more happy, and I went home singing. That I think of myself that no matter what my sisters and what the hurts that my mother do, because she didn't buy me those clothes, it's gonna be just okay, because someday I'm gonna be okay. That's what I have in my mind. So I continue to be happy, even though I do a lot of work around the house or around in the fields, in the farms. Even though I don't have clothes, even though I go to school with my flip-flops that have a hole in the underneath it, and sometimes it ruin, and then I just tie it with a rope or with a can of plastic. I'm still okay, and I'm still happy, because I know that someday I'll be okay. So I just realized it now. Before after I became a Christian, that Before I became a Christian, I don't realize those things, but I became a Christian, I realized that that was God who's stopping me to do the things. That was God who was there all the time listening to me. So I believe it since I was a kid wholeheartedly that there is God who see me and who see my arms and my legs that were black and blue. And also, I continue to do that, talking to God in the fields or everywhere in the top of the rocks. And in fact, when I was third year high school, I have a place that I changed the place that I go in the middle of all the forest and have a big rocks in the middle, all of them there. And I go there all the time to talk to God, gazing at the top in the heaven and talk to God. I go there sometimes in the afternoon, and I go there sometimes in the morning, and I go there sometimes early in the night, just to talk to God. And when I was in high school, because I cannot get that in high school there in Bukungabangan, because I don't have projects, and we don't have that much the money to use in the school sometimes to pay the school and to buy my projects. So when I was in fourth year high school, I decided to be a working student in Aurora. And there at Aurora, I applied for my older sister bring me to the place where she knows that looking for a working student, and I applied there, and they take me. So the family that took me there in Aurora is a doctor. The father is a doctor, and the one that sent me to school is his daughter that are working in the bank, one in the bank there. So I continue my high school there, fourth year high school in Aurora, in Cebuano Barracks Institute, which is now is different name, under different name. And I went there to continue my high school, and the same time I work in their house. And there I find out that it's hard to be a working student. I get up early in the morning, like 4 o'clock, to prepare the foods, everything, and go to school around 7:30, and go home 3 o'clock and work again until 12. I could only sleep a little bit hours, like 4 hours sometimes, because I had to get up 4 o'clock or 4:30. There I learned that in the school, while even in the school, I am so exhausted, I cannot concentrate in the class because I'm so exhausted. My grade was fell down. I have a good grades when I was in second year, third year high school, but fourth year no, because I was a working student and I cannot concentrate in the class again. Just like when I was started in the elementary school, that I cannot concentrate in the class. I was too worried about my working, and I'm so afraid all the time. I get so nervous easily. And I could only pass like 75. I could get a grades like 75 as long as I'm not failing to 74. It's okay. So that's all my grades. My grades is so down when I was fourth year high school. But I survived, I passed, I graduate, and that's all it counts, and that's all it matters to me. Then after that in high school, I went to Sami City with my father's family there. And there, I stayed there for how many months, and there, before that happened, when I was a working student in Aurora, Zamboanga del Sur, there, if I have time, if I have off, I go to the Rotunda. They call it Rotunda, that has a lot of flowers in it. It's a nice place. I like flowers, so a lot of flowers there, and go sit down there all the time. And then while I'm sitting down there all the time, the bus going to Cagayan de Oro is passing by. And every time I see a bus going to Cagayan de Oro, Cagayan de Oro is so special place in my heart that I wanna go in there. I wanna go there. I keep longing and longing to go there. But after I graduated in high school, I went to Sami City, my father's family. I forget going there and thinking about Cagayan de Oro. There, I met my ate, my cousins that working in Cagayan as a policewoman, my cousin's wife, and she has little girl, and then she went there, see if she could get one of her cousin or nephews to go watch her kid in Cagayan. And then my aunt introduced me to her, saying she needs a job. Maybe she could watch your kid, your daughter. So when she asked me, she told me, she asked me if I want to go with her in Cagayan de Oro. But I refused. I said, oh, Cagayan de Oro, that's already so far away. But I didn't realize that I kept longing that before when I was there in Aurora to go to Cagayan de Oro. And then my cousin said, oh, I'll ask you again tomorrow. Think about it. I ask you tomorrow again before I go. So the next morning, the next day, she asked me again, oh, Nining, are you okay? Are you gonna go with me in Cagayan de Oro so that you could work for me? And all of a sudden, before that, my instinct saying, okay, I wanna go with you. So I prepare myself and go with her. And then as soon as I arrived in Cagayan de Oro, one of my cousins there saying, oh, she is a Baptist. I said, what is Baptist? She said, a Baptist that they just believe in Bible. They don't worship status. They only have Bible in their church. Only Bible they read all the time and they believe. And then I said to myself, oh no, I'm not gonna go there. I'm Catholic. I want to be in the Catholic church. Then Saturday morning, I asked my ate, my cousin, saying, where is the Catholic church here, auntie? I want to go to the church. I asked my ate, where's the Catholic church here, auntie? I want to go to church. And then she said to me, oh, Nining, you don't want to go to hell, right? I said, no, I don't want to go to hell. And then she said to me, oh, okay, if you don't want to go to hell, then go with me in the church. Visit in my church. Just visit, just listen. So I just follow what she said, just pretending that I like it, go there. So I'll go there. That Sunday I went there, me and my cousin. And then we just stay there and listening to the pastors and the music that we sing. Song. And I'm not interested. I'm not interested in the preaching, and I'm not interested in the music that they sing, because all I long is just going to the Catholic church. When I was a little kid, my father will always bring us to the church, and since after my father died, we kept going to church all the time. I'm so faithful in the Catholic church, and in the Catholic church, I'm so faithful even though every time we have a celebration, I am in the church. So there in Cagayan de Oro, I realized that while I'm there in my cousin's house, I work for her, I have to go to her church. So I went there, just pretending, just respect what she wants us. And then someone's talking to me, the young people in the church, some young people in the church talking to me about the Bible and explaining me about the salvation. And I still say, oh, I just want to stay in the Catholic church. I was born as a Catholic, I die as a Catholic. That's what I said to myself. And then I'm just respecting them if they come to the house and talking to us about Bible, about God. But I do believe that we have the same God. Catholic and the Baptist is the same God that we worship. But the only problem is we don't have, Catholic has no teaching in the Bible, but the Baptist teach the Bible. So there, I continue to go to church, and one day, my ate went away, go back to Davao, visit to Davao, and me and my cousin, my cousin, stay there in the house. And one Sunday, we both agree to go back to the Catholic Church, to go visit the Catholic Church again. So we went to the Catholic Church. And then, all of a sudden, there, while we are in the Catholic Church, we are in the church, I feel cold. I felt so noisy that I don't understand what the priest said. I don't hear what he said in the mass. And I felt so miserable. And after the church, I told to my cousin, when we come home, I told him, next Sunday, if you want to go back to the Catholic Church, you can go. But if you ask me, I will go back to the Baptist Church. That's what I told her. So she said, oh, okay then. If you want to do that, it's okay. So the next Sunday, she went to the Catholic Church and I go to the Baptist Church. And there in the Baptist Church, when I arrived, they already started singing inside the church. And as soon as I enter the door, as soon as I hear the music, the singing, it fills me so happy and so clear. And it's very pretty song, like When We All Go to Heaven. And there, I settled myself. I felt happy. I felt more interested to listen the music and to listen the pastor's message. Excuse me. When my ate went home from the trip, I told her that I wanna accept Christ in my heart. Then there I realized that I am not saved, that I need to accept Christ in my heart. In order for me to go to heaven is to accept Christ in my heart, repent my sin, and accept Him in my heart as a gift from God, the Father. Because He already took my sin to the cross. He took it to Himself so that I could only believe and accept Him in my heart. So that day, the next Sunday, when the pastors give invitation, whoever will receive Christ, come forward. So I came forward to receive Christ. There, I'm more happier. All the guilt and all the scare that I have before, that when I die, when I'm gonna go, or I go to heaven or hell, all of that is gone. All I know is just I'm going to heaven because I accept Christ. All I know is my heart was so open. The heavy was lifted up. Before, I don't know how to accept Christ. It's so heavy. But after that, the heavy was left out. And I am happy, more happier on that time. And then I realized that what I'm praying before, what I'm asking to God, that send me to the church, because I kept praying to God before, looking for who gonna teach me how to go to heaven. Since then, that prayer, I remembered that I prayed that before. while I was a teenager or a kid. I prayed that prayer. I asked God, teach me how to go to heaven. Send me to the people that teach about how to go to heaven. So I realized that God answered my prayer. God gave me grace. God saved my soul. And then since then, I feel like I'm ready to die because I accept Christ and I'm sure I'm going to heaven. So there I start enjoying a Christian life, enjoying that God is in my heart, that I should not be afraid and I should not be miserable because God is there. It's always be there. And all those things that I prayed before when I was a kid, I was wondering because I kept talking to God about my father, that the God took my father home. I felt so. Sometimes I felt guilt about that, but it is. I didn't pray that that's what was gonna be happen to him. All I pray is just when he gonna stop beating us or who's gonna help us. It is an innocent prayer when I was a kid like that, but I realize now that that prayer was been answered by God, and He answered it in a different way. And even when I was in the park, sitting down in the park, looking for the bus going to Cagayan de Oro, I didn't realize that I have that in my mind and heart to go to Cagayan de Oro. That there, in Cagayan de Oro, I found God. I accept God in my heart. And in that day also, that when I was a second year high school, that I'm almost taking my life off. I just realized that that's God who interceded me in the top of the rock. It is Him who touched me, who changed my mind, not to take my life off, not to take the poison because it could kill me. And I didn't know that if I die, where I'm going to go to heaven or go to hell. So it was God who interceded my life in that time. That's what I realized. And there at Cagayan de Oro, I was 19 years old at that time when I accepted Christ in my heart. And I continued to work there. And then after that, I joined in the Bible school and I met the missionary from America, Reverend Mrs. Brock Howell, and their family. And I decided to enroll in Bible school there for 2 years. And while I'm in the school, I realized that I'm happy that I met them. And I realized how nice they are, the American people. There I realized that American is different than a Filipino. And they are so nice to me. So I went to school for 2 years there in Bible school, then graduated and worked in the church in between and work in my missionary. The next time I work in my missionary, my missionary, the Howells. And there they continue to be a nice person to me. I feel like I'm so blessed that I went to that place, to Cagayan de Oro. because there I accept Christ, and there I found a nice people in the world. So I worked for them, and I was so happy. Working for them is a wonderful experience with the Howells. And when I go to their house, when we eat together in one table, not unlike in the Filipino people that if you are a helper or a worker for them, you eat different place, different table. You don't eat with them. But there in that family, you are including in the table and you are including the foods that they cook. When I was a working student, my boss's foods, their foods and our foods are different, and we eat different table and they eat in different table. The foods that they cook is different and the foods that we have is different. So there I realized how different we are. Mostly in the third world country, the people who work for them as a maid or just a ordinary worker for their house, or they cannot eat with them, to the rich people in their table. Excuse me. They eat separately and their food is separate. And it is so, I realized that we as a people, we're supposed to be all the same. God loves us all the same. They don't love us because we are poor or we're rich. He loves us all the same, poor and rich. And God is love with all. And because I am with these Christian people, I learn more about God's love, and I learn different things. I learn how to live. I learn how to survive, how to manage what people say, and I felt so blessed that I met them, and I felt so blessed that I was able to work for them. And there in Cagayan de Oro, while I'm working for them, before when I was a teenager, all I could think is I want to join in a nun. I want to go work in the church as a nun. But that one is never happened to me because when I was, and I'm thinking also of not getting married because what happened to my father and what my father treated us. I don't want to get married. But when I was 22 years old, after I get saved, while I'm working with the house, I developed a love for the child, that I like child, and I like to have my own child. So my mind was changed that I'm not getting married. Instead, my mind is changed to get married. But there's another thing. I get married, I want to get married, but I want to change my environment. I'm thinking if I married a Filipino guy, I'm still there, and I'm still in the same environment. So, for me, to change my environment is to marry a foreigner. I don't know what other people think, but that's my thing, and that's what I'm thinking. So to change my environment is to marry a foreigner, a man from another country, or a guy from another country. By then I don't think whatever the country was, he's from, as long as he's a foreigner, as long as he's not a Filipino. So that's my desire in my heart, and that's my prayer since then. I pray and I pray. And later on I joined in the And we I start having a joining in the publisher with my friends. My friends have a publishers, and then I asked to be published my name there too and my pictures. And I start enjoying doing pen pals and all kinds of that. But how many years? Like 3 years before I found one that are uh, really responding me. So I found one that I write and then responding me back. So that's what happened. It is my husband now. And to me, coming here in America, is I feel like just next to heaven. Because I just came from the country that I'm so poor. I am not rich over there. I am nothing over there, except I am a Christian. Even though I am lack of, when I was in Cagayan de Oro, even though the money that I earn is just enough, not even enough for myself, but I'm so contented of it because God, I know God is there and God is helping me through. And now I am here in America. I feel like this is next to heaven to me, because I work here is so different from Philippines. So this is the blessing from God for me. And not only He saved my life, He saved my soul. He blesses me, and I thank God for that. Excuse me. And He blesses me in so many ways, and I thank Him for that. It's totally different when you are a Christian. God will always near you, and God will always answer your prayer either yes or no. He answers it. Sometimes He answers us yes if He says that prayer, that stuff things that we ask is suitable to us. Sometimes He answers no if the things that we ask is not suitable to us, not good for us. God is always answering our prayers. Either He said yes or He said no. That's what I learned about God. So being here in America is a blessing for me. It's a different life. It's a different environment. And by God's grace, I am happy that I'm here, and I am happy the surroundings that I have, and I'm happy what I have now. So back to the time that God talked to me at the top of the rock that I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna have a lot of clothes, a lot of shoes, or whatever that I don't have before, that I'm so struggling. I feel hurt that I don't have it. It was God who said to me that I'm not gonna be worried, and one of these days I'm going to another country. I didn't know that this is the country that He meant. So I just realized all those things that I have before. That's what he meant. He blesses me, he helped me through, and he sent me here in America, which is the better place than the Philippines. And God is good to me all the time. Even though he says no, he's still good because he knows what's the best for me. By accepting Christ is the most important thing in our lives. God sent his son. We celebrate Christmas because God is sending his son to earth to be born in a manger. He's a gift from heaven, Jesus Christ. And in the Holy Week, we celebrate the crucifixion and the resurrection of Christ. There, he took our sins to the cross. All what we have to do is to repent our sins and accept him into our hearts and let him lead into our hearts. Let him be in control in our lives. If we do that, God will bless us and will guide us through. Just what I remember before when I was a kid, that I never know what is that mean about I'll be okay. Later on I'm gonna be over another country. I didn't know what country I'm gonna go, but here I am now in America, the best place in all the world. For me, this is the best place from all over the world. So I thank God that I'm here. And then while I'm living here, I'm thinking about my family in Philippines. I'm thinking of their well-being. I'm thinking of their needs. And it's hard for me to think about it. That I'm here, I eat good foods, I eat 3 times a day plus snack. While they are there in Philippines, they don't have no snacks. And sometimes they don't have no foods. It's very difficult for me to think. Excuse me. But I'm still praying to God about it. And later on, I find a second job. And then I designated that job to help my brothers and sisters, nephews and nieces in Philippines. And I know that my sisters, my brothers, cannot send their kids to school without my help. They need my help, so I help them. And through my second job that God blesses me, I was able to help them to send to school. One day, 2 of my nieces would wanna transfer school. The other one was being kicked out of the school. And the other one, she's not kicked out of the school in Bukong, but I just think that 2 of them I'm just gonna put together in Cagayan de Oro, because I know Cagayan de Oro is the best place for them and it's a nice place for them to start to be experienced in the city, so that they could experience what I've been experiencing there. And first of all, they could come to know the Lord there. If I put them in my friend's house, rent them there, and have my friend to bring them to church, I know that they could come to know the Lord. So I decided to 2 of them to bring to Cagayan to go bring them to Cagayan de Oro, put them in Cagayan de Oro. There they continue their 4th year high school in Cagayan, Harlin and Arnie. Harlene Placencia, as what I learned about her, I didn't see her in person, but she is so close to me, to my heart. I feel like she's a good girl, and she is a sweet girl. So the reason why I sent her to Cagayan de Oro also, so that she could come to know the Lord, and my other niece have a company there too, because they're both together in the same grades. So they are there in Cagayan de Oro at that time and continue their school, fourth-year high school, and then after they graduate, they go to the college and vocational course, and they only finish one semester for that course, and they change another one vocational course, which is a caregiver, and two of them are graduated there, the caregiver. And then, excuse me, after that they apply a job in a mall, and then they work there for, I believe, 5 months, and after the work, I sent them to Cavite, to my sister's house in Cavite. And there in Cavite, before they went to the Cavite, Harlens met a young man there, and she started dating with a young man, with a and then they become a boyfriend and a girlfriend. And then I asked her if she is sure that that's what she wants, and she said, I'm not sure. So then I asked her to go to Cavite and go to Manila and find a job there in Manila. So they went to Manila, and she stayed there for almost a year in Manila. She worked there in Cavite, in Cavite. And later on, while she is there, she's still contacting with her boyfriend in Cagayan de Oro. And later on, she went back to Cagayan de Oro. And then, before she went back to Cagayan de Oro, we talked one time in the Skype there in Cavite. And then I asked her if she really accepts Christ in her heart. And she said to me that she accepts Christ in her heart. And then I asked her, when you die, where are you gonna go? And she said to me, of course in heaven, because I accept Christ. And I was so happy on that time. I was so happy that she is saved. I was so happy that she told me that she accepted Christ. But totally only her and God knows her heart. But that's what I believe. I believe that she is saved, and she really accepts Christ at that time. And she went back to Cagayan de Oro because her boyfriend's asking her to go back there, and there she went back and attend his graduation. And then after that, she stayed there and she worked, and then she worked for 5 months on that one of the store there. And she stopped, and she wants to go to school. She was telling her boyfriend that she wants to go to school, so her boyfriend sent her to school. And she went to school, and then she's enjoying there. She's enjoying with her boyfriend, and she's enjoying the company. And I realized that she's happy there, and so I called her there one time, and I asked her what she's doing there, and she said she's trying to look for a job, because I know that she's done in the contract that she had for 5 months for Gaisano. So she told me she's gonna go get another job, and then after that she never get another job. Instead, she asked her boyfriend if she could go to school, so she went to school. And she's thinking she wants to talk to me, she wants to call me, she wants me to call her. But I try and try call her 3 times, but her cell phones are different number. Excuse me. And I don't have her number, her new number. I try to contact her, but I cannot contact her. And one day I realized that in December I want to talk to them in the Skype. 3 of my nieces right there, and I told one of my nieces that I want to talk to them. And but then that first week of December that I set aside for them to talk in the Skype, I never went through because I fall asleep, I forget, and I forget all about it because I'm so tired and I'm not feeling well. And then I just realized that I have supposed to be to talk to them that week, but I didn't talk to them. So I just thinking, oh, I'll wait till January. But before January come, issue there will happen to Harlem. I never know. That's what's gonna happen to her. I didn't think of going back there to visit them so that I could see her. I didn't think of visiting there so that I could see my nieces that I never see before. I never see Harlem. When I went home there in 2002, she is there, but she's not there in the house where I visit. She is in the school. I didn't come back the next day to see them. I don't have any courage to go see my nieces and nephews. All I think is just to visit my brothers and sisters and see them, and don't care about nieces and nephews. If they are there, I could see them, but if they're not there, I cannot see them. I didn't realize how terrible I am and how wrong what I thinking. December 29, I received a message here in my answering machine saying, at first the message, it don't say anything, as all the talk that I hear, and I never understand what they're talking about. I could hear my niece, one of my niece's voice, but the other voice is a man voice, and I didn't recognize the voice. I just think that's all. That's my niece and nephew that try to call me here, like greeting me for Happy New Year, because that's December 29. And I stopped the answering machine and sitting down in the couch, and I'm thinking about it, and all of a sudden accident word is flashing in my mind, and the place where the accident is the road that going down. Is flashing in my mind, and then I corrected my mind right away. I said to myself, why I'm thinking about that, why I'm thinking about accident, why I'm thinking about that. So I changed my mind right away. I didn't realize that that was God who's telling me that there is an accident. And then I went to bed. When I get up in the night to get ready for work, before I go to work, I see my answering machine is blinking again. That means there's a message. There is a new message. And then I see the answering machine blinking. I play it before I go work. I was ready to go work. And then there, when I play, I heard my other niece's voice saying, Auntie, call back. call in Cagayan de Oro. Harleen died. Harleen died in accident. Harleen died. Some other cars run over her. There, I cry, and I don't know what I'm gonna do because it's a night, and I have to go work. So I continue to go work. There I work. I cannot realize myself how it is. I cannot believe, and I cannot believe what happened, and what I cannot believe what I heard. I cannot believe that I heard that she's dead. There I go back again and work from the night. In the morning I come home and I get another message. It's my other niece saying that Harleen died. Call back in Cagayan. I realized that night that I lost my niece, that I never see her. That night I realized how stupid I am, that I didn't go and visit them. They're supposed to be, I could see her in person, but I never do that. All of my remembrance to her is just looking in the phone and seeing her one time in the sky. There I realized that my nieces and nephews are important also. I was so not thinking well, and I feel hurt. Later on, I learned how the accident happened. I talked to her boyfriend, and what happened is she is riding to her boyfriend's motorcycle with him, and they are from Valencia, Bukidnon. And then they're going down to the hill, going down to go home in Cagayan de Oro on that day. 4:45. All of a sudden, the tin-wheeler truck struck them. That following them struck them going down, and three of them, the motorcycle, the boyfriends, and my niece, is flying different ways. The boyfriend fly to the side of the road. My niece fly in the middle of the road after she got hit by a tin-wheeler truck from the motorcycle. She fly to the road, the middle of the road, and the motorcycle fly in the front of the jeep, of the van. And my niece fly in the middle of the road, and the tin-wheeler struck her again, run over her there. While the boyfriend is survived, just scratch and bruises in what he have, because she was thrown in the side of the road. There I realized, I see again the hands of God. The hands of God protecting the boyfriend, put him to safe. But the hands of God to my niece, he took him home, her home. I do believe that that day, even though it's so awful day, it's so awful sin, I do believe that God is still there with my niece, even though she got run over by a tin-wheeler truck. God is right there with her, and carry her soul. I believe that God carried my niece's soul to heaven in that day, and that's all the comfort that I have. What the heart is. I never see her in person. I never met her in person. I look forward to see her, supposed to be, but I didn't do those things. Now it is too late. It is too late for me. But I know that one day I'll see her again in heaven. And there's no comparison with the two people that I love so deeply, my mother and her. It is so hurt when my mother passed away, because since I was a kid, I never say I love you to my mother. And that day, the last time that I didn't realize that that's the last time I talked to her, that before I hung up the phone, when I talked to her, I say I love you to her. I love you, Mama. And that's the first time I say I love you to her. And then I didn't realize that that's the last time. And then she hung up the phone. In the next 15 minutes, my sister called me saying that they bring my mother to hospital because Mama is not Mama is in a coma. She cannot speak. She's still alive, but she cannot speak. She is in high blood attack on that time, after she spoke with me in the phone. There I realized that that's the first and the last that I said to her. And this is how it hurts, because the words that you want to hear, and I said only to her one time, and I didn't realize that that's the first and the last to say to her. And I feel left up also when she died, because she is sick. She is so sick in that time. Even though it's so hurt and it's so sad, I felt relief, because I know that she's resting. She rests in peace and she rests with God. My mother also is accepting Christ in her heart before she died. Before I left Philippines, come to America, my mother is accepting Christ in her heart. I prayed and prayed for how many years for her. Since I received Christ, I start praying for her. So it's answered. Before I come to America, she told me that she accepted Christ. So it was so happy and relief for me to think about that. But the sad memory of her is, I only say to her I love you one time. And that's it. It is so hurt. And the comparison to that, to my niece. So since then, I learned that I need to say I love you to all the person that I love, especially my family, like my nieces and nephews, my sister. I learned to realize that I have to say that, and I have to learn to love to them more and more. So every time I talk to this girl, my niece Harlem, I realize that she's near to my heart. So every time, most of the time that if I'm talking to her, that I'm in a good mood, I always say I love you to her, because I want to make sure that I was able to say I love you to her, even though I never meet her in person. I never see her in person. I'm glad that I have that words to her. And but the hurt is this, the painful memory that I have for her also is I never see her in person. These two things that I have is so difficult for me. But I know God will give me grace to help me to sort these things out and to live my life the way He wants me to be. And I thank God for that all comfort that He have for me. That I know that two person that I love so deeply, my mother, my niece, that who are gone to eternity last December 29, are saved in heaven. It was a very amazing experience that I realized by and by that God is working through it all. God is helping me. God is answering my prayer. And God is good to me. And God bless me more and more. Coming to America is a blessing. And I thank God for that. And I pray and hope that whoever see this message or this video will help in their mind to realize that God is real. Heaven is real. God is real. And hell is existing. Can you just let it go? If you're that person, is just like me, that's so struggling since you are a kid, since you are a toddler, and if you're that person that's in abuse situation like me, or any kind of source of abuse, think about God. Think about Him, that He is near to you and He is always there and He is watching you. Think about Him and talk about your situation to Him, because He's the only one who could help you. When I was a little kid, I realized my mother cannot help me, cannot protect us. But I realized that there's more than Father in heaven that's watching over us all. I realized that there is the Father that could help us. I'm making this video that I could tell you about God. What I've been through in my life is difficult to think, but it's not difficult to think if God is with you. God is protecting me all through the way. Because if God's not there, I'm not here now, but I'm still here. God is protecting me. God is intercepting my life, and God is always there. Stay in God and think about Him all the time. To think about God and be happy, be enjoying with Him is a blessing that could help your life, could help your ease in your pain. No matter what happened and no matter what you've been through, God is always there. God is always helping you go through. I do believe wholeheartedly that God will always help you, because that's what I have. There are times in my life that I'm so scared, but I ask God to help me, because I'm only human, and I have some struggles, but God will see it through. And this is it for now, for the story of my life.
I, this is what I don't know. I don't want to lose it on you. I don't know what to do.
Your voice.
I don't know if you're supposed to upload it or stop recording.
How about upload?
Oh boy. I think you're supposed to stop recording.
Just click this?
Yeah. Don't go to the red part. Go over the... Click it.